Good evening, everyone again. Yeah, let me share my screen. Sorry, you disabled screen sharing.
Okay, all right. Please try again. I just enabled it.
Okay. Okay. Hmm.
Can you share your screen now?
Yeah, I'm coming. Sorry.
Okay, all right. I just wanted to be sure you had permission
Yeah,
to.
sure, I can.
Okay, all right. So one more thing, guys, before he starts teaching, you can drop a reminder in your group, your chat room, so that the others can join this call. Thank you.
Okay. So can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay, that's cool. It's okay. So good evening, everyone again, once again. So I'll be taking this topic, project management in UI UX. So let's proceed. So basically we're dealing with three things today. So we have three models. What is project management and how does it relate to UI UX? Then how to manage UX teams as an individual or as a team or on as a team. Then working with cross-functional teams, PMs, product owners, engineers, etc. So what is project management and how does it relate to UI UX? Okay, before this, sorry. So yeah, you may say you are a designer, you're not a project manager or a product manager. That what's your business with project management? Yeah, so that's what we all want to find out from this class. You're a designer, yeah, you're not a manager or some sort. So, but we're going to learn why you need to be in this class. So let's proceed. So, PMI, Project Management Institutes, define project management as the use of specific knowledge, they highlighted skills, techniques, tools, and techniques to deliver something of value to people. So the end line, the punchline of everything you are doing is just that you are providing value, you are delivering value to people using specific skills and tools. Dr. Martins Barnes also said that it is fundamental project management. And it's fundamental. Project management is about people getting things done. So it's basically what carrying out something, carrying out a particular task. That's what project management is all about. Now, as it relates to UI UX, I'll just apply to you guys, to every one of us as designers. So a few things you need to know. Project management as a UI designer comes up when you have to lead a team or even work on your own personal project. Now, let me give you a scenario. Currently, as a designer, you guys or every one of us at one point in time were like working on personal projects. That's what we call a portfolio. So you working on that project, you were your own project manager yourself because you worked from one particular stage to the other. You ensured that what you took ownership of that project to ensure that that project was properly documented, that project was properly carried out. Now, what you did there was you were a project manager, but you might not know because to you it might seem as a normal thing. So being a project manager, it's not just like the normal project manager you think about, that the one in your office or the one you hear about, product manager or project manager. Being a product manager, so product management is inside, like I usually call it product design because you don't only do design, you do all other things as well. As a designer, you wear many hats and you need to start looking at yourself as one. So also successful design projects require more than just design skills. You also need to know how to manage clients, organize projects, and optimize your operations. Now, being a project, being a UI/UX designer doesn't only apply just now. We have three facets of ways in which you can design. You can work in an industry, that you can work in a firm or a company of some sort. Then you can also be a freelancer, and also you can also maybe do your own personal project on your own and maybe sell or something. But the point line of everything is that at one point in time you need to manage projects. At one point in time, you need to carry out tasks. That's the most important thing here. So being a product designer or being a UI designer, it means that you have to also be able to manage your project. You have to also be able to to manage your task yourself. No one is going to do that for you. So being a freelancer, now take for instance, I've been a freelancer for I was a freelancer for quite some while. And what happened is there's always a process. There's always a process in delivering work to clients. There's a process of in delivering work. Yeah, delivering your designs. Now, that was called project management. You take like control of the entire project from start to the finish to ensure that what this project is properly and it is well done according to how my specifications. Now, as a freelancer, when you meet one-on-one with the client, supposed client, you first thing first is to understand the product, how the product is going to look like. Then you have conversations with the client, okay, to understand his goals, to understand, okay, what does he want? Why is he saying this thing should be this? Why is he saying this should be that? That is in the sense trying to manage your project, because you are the one taking full control of this project. You get? So that's what it's about. So project management as a UI designer comes up when you have to lead a team or even work on your own personal projects. So as creating design projects, you don't only need design skills alone. You need more than design skills. You need to wear a lot of hats. You need to manage clients, organize the projects, even optimize your work. You have to also work with different people, not only one person. We'll still come to that later in this class. So basically, the idea of project management is for you to take ownership and make conscious effort to ensure that your product is successful. And this may involve you understanding the product. So the first thing I'm just telling you the steps that what are the things that just shows that you are managing your product, you're a product manager inside your product. Not product manager in that sense, but you are managing your product yourself, you're managing the products that you're working on yourself. So understand your product. So I'm making this instance as a freelancer. The client gives you a job. The next thing you ask for is either a product brief or you ask for a meeting with the client. We'll talk about product brief, not in this class, but that will be later. So you have to understand what the product is all about. You can't just go about designing. That's why when recruiters are like hiring designers, they need to understand, okay, the work on your portfolio, do you really understand what it's all about? The recruiter in my company was saying something recently, and she said that most people she has been like checking out, most of them don't even know what they're even applying for, because they're just doing it because it's a norm, but it shouldn't be that way. You should really understand what you're working on. Likewise, if you're working in a company, you're working in an organization, you should understand what the organization does in total. Like you have to really understand it in depth so that you're able to carry out your task effectively. So you want to work, let's take for instance, you want to work on, let's say, like a piggyvest, for example. I'm just saying like a scenario, like a savings platform, a savings app. And you actually don't know you have to really understand how savings work. And it doesn't really mean the design part alone. You have to understand, okay, what are the organizations that have to do with savings? What are those organizations that handle wallets and all these things? So if we have to talk to this company, we have to talk to this bank, we have to talk to this bank to provide these wallet services or the other, then that is what you are trying to do. You are trying to understand the product. So it's not just about just designing, just fancy designs. I was on Twitter space, I think that was yesterday, and a design manager was saying that what it looks at when hiring people is that it wants to see people that can think for themselves, not people that just do things because, okay, yeah, it's what people are doing. You have to understand what you are doing actually, not just designing or just because it's someone's fancy design, you replicate it. Yeah, there's time for that. That's interface design. But when you're really coming to like working on real life scenarios, it's just like a doctor. The doctor will have made practices in the past in their medical school or whatsoever, and they'll have been testing out how to check this, how to check that. When you come into a real life scenario, it's a different ballgame entirely. You have to have some needed skills to ensure that you carry out your task effectively. So as I said, understanding the product is key, and that will really help you to understand what the goals and the scope of the product is all about. Now, when talking about the scope of the product, you're not just going beyond or going below what you have been given or what you've been told. They are trying to be the piggy vest. Piggy vest is different from Kuda. Piggy vest is different from other fintech apps out there. Piggy vest has a particular goal it's set to achieve. That so understanding that product will help you get the goal and help you understand how the scope, what the scope of the product is. Then also you need to create a project plan, which will include a timeline and required budget to make this project successful. This applies both to maybe in-house designers or even those who are freelancers. So when you get a job or when you get a freelance gig as a designer, so the first thing, one of the first things the client will ask you is, okay, what's your budget or what's your price range? So you being very effective, they'll still talk about business of design later on. I think it's also we talked about, but this is just trying to tell you that you have to manage yourself effectively. You take cost. Okay, what are the things I will need? What are the things I will need? What are the things that what are the costs I will incur in trying to carry out this task? If you're a designer, surely you need internet connection. You also need fuel, because Nigeria has a plenty power supply. But these are things you need to take into consideration. That's why I term it creating a project plan. What are the things I will need? That's why when someone just asks you, okay, what is your price? You don't just give an answer just because I've done it before and I've learned bitterly from that, because it's not always the best. So you create a plan, then structure it. Okay, how much does this cost, and how much does this cost, so that your client sees that, okay, yeah, this guy is someone who is structured, someone who knows his craft. So the designers don't only just need to know how to design. There are a lot of other skills you need to also accrue to yourselves to make you a better version of a designer. There are many designers out there, but different things, maybe the tiniest thing that will separate you or that will distinct you from the other person. And that is having all these skills to be able to manage your projects very well. So let me move on. So working towards project deliverables as well. So either the client or your PM or working in a company who are giving you, okay, these are the project deliverables you need to get. Either is to get a lo-fi, get a hi-fi, get a interactive prototype, or get something of some sort. So you work towards that goal and ensure that you carry out that task. Next one is also request revision of concepts with stakeholders to ensure everyone is on the same page. Now, this is very, very important. I think I'll talk in detail about this in the next module, but this is trying to tell you that as you work, that as you design, as you work on the current or the task you are given, ensure you give feedback to the person who assigned you to that task or who gave you that job, to ensure that, yeah, this is what I want. So earlier, some months ago, I was working on a freelance project, and like I was to design something. Now, to me, that thing didn't make sense at all, because ethically or color-wise, color-wise, that's the bad. It doesn't have good accessibility, and it has some issues anyway. But so I moved up to the client, told him this brand color that your brand designer chose, it's wrong. So it's not that it's wrong, it won't go well with this. Do we change the color? He said no. He said let's work with the same color. So as me, I changed that, though it might only require me a click to change the color back, but me going back to receive feedback from him, to get feedback from him was very, very crucial and important, because it eased my workload on me. Also, going back, when working, you should at least give like 2-3 weeks. Take, for instance, the timeline of your project, it's 3 weeks. At least give 1 week each for revision with your clients or with your stakeholder or those who assign the task to you, so that you wouldn't have gone far and you find out that, wow, I've been doing nonsense all this while. So that's how you can take ownership of your product. You take ownership of your product, you ensure, because you have to ensure that those who are related to your products, you are in constant communication with them. Those who determine what affects that product, you're in constant communication with them. So also be flexible. Life isn't that hard. Yeah, designers, we understand our craft, but the truth is, there's some things we have to be flexible on. Like I just told you now, this guy said this is what color he wants. So I have to just give him that, because that is what he is the one handling this product. He is the product owner, you get, or the client. So that's what he wants. So at times you have to be flexible, and there are times that you have to also stand your ground. Yeah, that's true. So, but this is just trying to tell us that as designers, we need to take ownership of our projects. Don't just see it as something which just gets money. look, you see it as something that, yeah, this is something that will be accrued to my name. This is something that I will do, and people will know about it that I did this thing. Okay, let's move. So module 2, how to manage UX projects. We'll do how to manage UX projects. So basically, there are 2 approaches to this. 1, we have the Waterfall methodology, and 2, we have the Agile methodology. So we have the Waterfall methodology and we have the Agile methodology. So this is just story, but this is like a traditional method in which everyone just works. Yeah. So let's take, for instance, let me put a company scenario. So I'm a designer. Let's say someone out there is a developer, and someone out there is the PM. The PM just comes and say, okay, designer, this is the PRD, this is the document, the product brief. This is, just work on it. And as a designer, you just keep on working on it. The developer doesn't know what you are doing. The PM doesn't know what you are doing. All they know is that you're working. So, and this had happened earlier. I know of this thing happened to someone before. So the guy was working, is a close friend, is someone I know. He was working on the project, and he actually didn't show it to the PM or to the developer because they were not available at that time. So he was just working. So when it was time to like everybody to come together, oh yeah, bring what you've done and let's just see how it looks. Then it was a shocker because he was actually doing something that was not what they intended to do. So he was doing something outside the scope of what he was not doing right. So that's why it's very, very important. Okay, so that's what we call a waterfall methodology. It's basically it gives the room for feedback. Everyone just works. There's no collaboration between teams. It is fast, yes. Everyone is very fast. As a designer, you can lock yourself up in your room, 2-3 days, 5 days, 1 week, you are done, and you bring out the design. It's fast and low cost way of getting the product out there, but at the same time, it leaves no room for creativity. That everyone doesn't have an input in that. The developer doesn't have an input. The PM doesn't have an input. It's only at the end, and which will very much slow down your work. So this is not only applicable as an in-house, but also as a freelancer. I just painted a scenario to you right now. Like when I was working on a freelance gig, I had to ensure that we had calls late into the night, maybe it's around 11 sometimes, from 8 to around 11. I remember that night. So because I needed to be sure that this thing, I hope I'm on the right track, because this wasn't a Nigerian brand, it was a foreign brand. So I need to be sure that I wasn't just doing something that was based on what I've been seeing around in Nigeria. So that's why it's very, very important that you carry along your clients, either your clients, or you carry along your PM, or those who are assigned tasks to you, or those who have been placed to manage you. So despite the fact that they're managing you, you are the one managing that project. They're managing you because they are assigned to that project, but you are the one in charge of that project. So you take ownership of that project and ensure that yes, this project is being managed effectively. So this is the type of project where the designer just keeps designing without anyone seeing it or even checking to see the feasibility of the design. And the developer just comes on board, starts his or her own, and then issues come up and it may likely slow down the development process. That's when you start. I'm sure you must have heard of the banter between the designers and developers. Yeah, it happens a lot because designers need to ensure that they're in close collaboration with developers, and also developers as well need to ensure that they are also in close collaboration with designers. It goes hand in hand. It goes both ways. So next, let me just go to the next slide. So what is the way forward then? And the way forward is Agile methodology. So this method of project management rates communication as high priority, in the sense that communication is the key to this form of this kind of form of process. So just to be sure, is anyone hearing me? Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay.
Yes,
okay.
we can hear you.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you. So as I said, Agile methodology, it rates the communication as high priority. It makes it possible for everyone to have an input in the product. Not that one person is just designing, one person is just developing, one person is just doing that. Everyone comes together to give an input into the work. So it works in stages called sprints. Currently, I'm on a sprint right now, a physical sprint. So, but that's just basically how it works. So there was this idea we're working on, this concept we're working on, and I was working on it. I never thought of that. Then one of the backend engineers just came and said, why don't we do it this way? And that was a very fantastic idea because I could never have thought about it that way. So one thing we should realize is that working with people, working with other teams is very, very important because you as a designer, yeah, I mean, very creative. You know how to paint stuff, you know how to clean, make things pretty. Yeah, that's true. But your job as well is also to receive feedback from people. That's what we call empathy. So you should also be able to understand how all this thing works. So you work in sprint, either physical or it's virtual. So by working in the open and regularly engaging with stakeholders, now those we call stakeholders are people who have a hand in how that project works or in service of that project. So those who call stakeholders, they can be developers, they can be engineers or developers, they can be PMs, they can be product owners, they can be marketers, they can be marketing team, they can be the media team, they can be just anyone. But those who have a stake, those who are actively involved in the success of that project. So those are what we call stakeholders. So by working in the open and regularly engaging with stakeholders, you catch potential issues early when they can be easily fixed. Like this thing happened, and this guy had gone very far, only for the PM to say no, this thing cannot work, and we had to go back to ground zero. So it was really painful, but that does show that this is how it should go. So it may look slow at the beginning when everyone is talking and everyone is bringing their ideas. As you usually say, too many being spoiled the broth or something. But the fact is, it really helps your work because you really understand, okay, this is how the direction should go. My PM might give me a lot of issues because I always ask questions because I don't want to have any issues and later you come back and tell me, oh, this thing is not this way, this is not this way. I like getting my things straight up at the beginning. So it's very, very, however, more importantly, you give stakeholders a sense of ownership because they have been involved in the creation process. So the more ownership they feel, the less likely they are to reject the final deliverable and the more likely they are to defend it to others. So one thing is, as designers, you shouldn't just see yourself as, okay, I'm the only creative person here. So creative in the sense, it doesn't really mean designers. When you talk about creative, a developer can be a creative, a PM can be a creative, a product owner can be a creative, anyone can be a creative. So because they have this, everyone has this brain that they can think outside the box. What you might be thinking about, what they might be thinking about, you may never have imagined it at all. So that is very important to have everyone's input into whatever you're doing. So the more ownership they feel, the less likely they are to reject the final deliverable, and the more likely they are to defend it to others. So as long as they are part of the project, okay, no, do this thing. Yeah, this is how it should work. So when you bring out the final thing, everyone says, yeah, this is what we want. And then everyone goes along with it. Everyone is fine with it. So that's basically how the approach to managing this project, how this thing works. So it's also very important as a designer, you need to be open to feedback and criticisms. Those are constructive criticism. So you don't feel bad when your work is being maybe at times be downgraded or something, or not well appreciated by others. Just see it as a constructive criticism and just move on. Iterate on that and do a better work. So yeah. So next, so to cut the long story short, everyone needs to work together to ensure the product comes out well. Because if someone says this doesn't work for me, everyone go back to 0 points. So working with stakeholders, one of the most important stakeholder relationships between designer and engineers. So you'll agree with me that designers and engineer relationship is very, very important. For me, I try as much as possible to ensure that, you usually say this thing, police is your friend. So that way I see that engineers are my friend, because if I'm on good terms with my engineers, not just like the regular, that's why it's necessary to work as a team. Not that I just see them as just, okay, they're just a colleague. No, they are people, they are humans as well. They have feelings, they have emotions. When you just easily do something and it's not easily implementable, it's not as if, like, I work with engineers, and one thing I figured out was that it's not as if it's not possible. It's just that they may not have that expertise on doing that. Now, for someone who has maybe 2 years of experience as a designer, you can't tell him, okay, you should go and start maybe using After Effects or to create motion design, to create interactive component. He doesn't know how that works yet. He doesn't know how that works yet. So you have to give everyone that give everyone that benefit of doubt. Okay, this doesn't work for you. So what do you think we should do? So that in that way, everyone is happy. So because it's not the best to have engineers as enemies at all. It's not the best because if they make it, you can easily change the structure of your design, turn it to a goosey soup and like so. So the best thing is just to work with them very closely to ensure that this thing is properly implemented. So together, these two are often the most influential in shaping the experience of users. So it's not just even the PMs. The PMs are there, but you are very key to ensuring this project works well. You're very key to ensure. So it is very vital that they work closely together, continually reviewing each other's work. It's not enough for a designer to hand off work to the engineers and move on to the next project. So that's what separates you from the regular people out there. So I usually call these people product designers. So as a designer, you ensure that, okay, what this guy is doing is, okay, this is how this thing should work. Not just leaving the developer to just do what they want to do. And when it comes out, you say, guy, this is not what I told you to do. So there are actually those issues. That's why it's necessary to have a follow-up. You guys should be in close contact with each other. So when he's doing this thing, you meet him and ask him, guy, how is work on this thing? So you ask him, then it shows you, okay, maybe on his staging, or maybe it shows you on the undeployed state, because you have a deployed state and undeployed. So once it shows you, okay, no, this is not what I want. So this is how I want this thing to be. And then you can actually change it and everyone can go home happy. So it's not the best for us to have enmity against each other. So so working with stakeholders is very, very important. So working with cross-functional teams, PMs, product owners, and engineers. So apart from collaborating with engineers, there are also some teams you might need to collaborate with depending on the use case and the situation surrounding it, because in one way or the other, they affect the success of the product. So you can have the product or project managers, you can have your product owners. So basically, we have product managers and product owners. So product owners are basically individuals, PMs. They are PMs here that they are assigned to a particular product. Let's say Piggy wants to launch a new product. They cannot assign a PO as a product owner. Okay, you're the one owning this project. Work on it with this designer. So this designer mans this project. This designer mans this project. You are just to supervise them. Why a product manager can just be maybe on a feature or something. So their work is almost interrelated. So also the marketing team. Yeah, I've had to work with marketing team a couple of times to ensure that, okay, this thing was properly done. Probably it's to announce a new feature. Yeah, the marketing team might contact you. Okay, send us this design for this thing. Let us be able to publicize this. The media team as well, the graphic designers, the content writers. I call them the media team anyway. So you have the customer support. So the customer support, I've had this a lot of times. Customer support may have some issues with maybe a customer gives a report that, okay, this button it's kind of somehow for me, or I'm not getting this thing, or I'm seeing something. So the customer support team contacts the design team and then they make a correction on that and see. So also the research team as well. The research team goes into the field to pick out findings, and then those findings are then related back to the PMs and the designers to ensure that, okay, this is what we found out when we went out into the field, and this is what we saw, this is what we got. So we need to work on this. So that's basically it. Collaborating with product managers and products and all stakeholders. So as designers, it's very, very important you manage your products very well. You manage every project you're working on well. It's not compulsory. You need to be being in a paid project or being in-house. Even with your small portfolio you're working on, you can still do something great. I think I saw a thread on Twitter where someone was talking about, okay, one designers should collaborate with developers and product managers should also collaborate with them. I've seen a case study where there were like 5 guys, maybe I think 2 designers, maybe 1 developer, 2 developers, or 1 PM or something. So they all collaborate on that project. So those are stuff you can do. Those are stuff you can do to ensure that, okay, this thing, I'm managing this project very well. I'm giving an input into this project to ensure that it comes out well. So that's basically it. So yeah, that's all, guys. Any question? So I hope you can hear me.
Yes, we can.
Okay.
We can hear you. So guys, for those on the call, if you have any question, please just drop it on the chat. So the chat is available. You can drop your questions. If you understood, you can kindly type in that you understood. If you don't understand any parts of the slide, you can identify also. So guys, please drop your questions on the chat. Thank you.
Okay, that's a very good question. What's the difference between project management and product management? Now, these two are used in, they're interwoven, kind of interlap, but they are not the same. So a project manager can be anyone. It can be someone who is working on the construction site, it can be someone who is working anywhere, it can be someone who is just managing a project. So, but product management is talking about someone, referring to someone in a digital space, someone who is working on a particular product, on a particular feature. They're almost the same thing. It only depends on the use case for both of them. So you can have a project manager, you can also have a product manager as well. So they can also do the same thing. It's just that it's kind of, when it comes to the digital space, we kind of differentiate them to ensure that there's clarity, but they're almost the same thing, depending on the use case. Okay, so as a designer, given a task to work, can you request to work with this set of people automatically they let you? I don't think I get your question. As a designer, given a task to work, can you request to work with this set of people or automatically? Now, as a designer, you are the one who is bringing it. You're the one, you should be the one, or they bring in the product idea. So someone can say, okay, wants to build the next water wave, wants to build the next space stack, and you can have the idea, anyone can have the idea. What matters is that they need someone to produce these things. My CEO usually refer to us as, we designers and engineers refer to us as the factory of the company, because we're the one who produce these things for people to use. So even if they have the idea, they can't do anything. They can't make it work. It can't work except there are technical people on ground to carry out these tasks. So it's very possible for you to find out someone, or there will be some times that you can just ask for, okay, PM, so just to ensure that, okay, this work is organized and everyone is properly managed. So even as a product designer, you can also double as a product manager, but it's not advisable. Now, one of my friends said a product manager and a product designer, they're almost the same thing, just that product designers design. Now, I've seen my product managers iterate. They've done wireframes. Yeah, they've done, not everyone has that knowledge though, but I've seen product managers that they draw wireframes, they create user personas, they do all these things. Yeah, but basically, they're just there to just guide. They don't go in depth in what you do. So as a product designer or as a UI designer, you also have to have at least a good knowledge, or if not at least a good knowledge of how you manage projects, how project management works, how this thing works, because it really helps you in the long run on how you should collaborate with people and work on your projects. So I don't know if I answered your question, Esther. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. So any other question from anyone?
So guys, feel free to drop your question. Ask your questions now. So so we have like we still have about 25 more minutes to go. So guys, ask your questions so your instructor will know he did really well. If you understood what was taught, say yes, you understood. If not, go ahead and ask your questions. If we don't get any more questions within the next 5 minutes, so we'll wrap up this session and call it a night. So now
Okay.
I think a question was just dropped, so you can go ahead with that.
Yeah, okay, thanks. So at what point during the design process does developer come in? So at the starting point. So the moment you start to conceptualize your ideas and you start to bring them into wireframes and all, you should be discussing this with them. Not that I've created wireframes, I've created lo-fi, I've created hi-fi, and I'm not showing the designer, hi guy, look at this thing, I've done it. Take. just transfer it. No, it's not done that way. That at the beginning, at the starting point of, because even there as well can be also can also participate in that ideation process. So not only you, they understand how this thing works. Like currently, as I said, we are on a sprint, and I needed to be sure, okay, what I'm thinking, is it possible? Can these guys do it? So we brought them in. Okay, now sit down, guys. Look at this thing. This is what I'm thinking. I'm trying to make this feature. I'm trying to do this. Is it possible? I'm trying to do this. Is it possible? So that I won't just be building for the thin air. And later I found out that, wow, these guys can't do this thing. And I have to go back to start iterating on that design again. So the best thing is for you to ensure that you carry them along in every process. So once you start the wireframing, you go to lo-fi, you show them these things. Okay, guy, look at this thing. This is what I'm thinking. Then at that point, it tells you it's very easy to fix a product before launch than fixing after launch, because you'll have spoiled so many things already. So now the developer is seeing your handoff notes and later find out that this guy just did anything. He just did his own thing and just went. So that's why I keep emphasizing that it shouldn't just work just because you'll be paid for something, or don't just work for that. Work because you want this product to be good, you want this product to come out well, because your image is attached to it as a designer. So I hope you understood that. Then okay, I'm seeing that question. Who sets the entire timing duration for the design process to be completed? As a designer, are you in control of that? Actually, it depends on you. Yeah. So as I said, Agile methodology makes use of a sprint method. So that sprints is just trying. What sprint means is that you guys are in a collaborative environment whereby everyone gives an input. So it's a sprint is like, okay, let me call it a retreat. You know what a retreat is. It's like a set aside time for you guys to brainstorm, for you guys to think on how this thing works. So presently for me, I'm outside of my home. I'm in a physical sprint. We guys are thinking and brainstorming and thinking about, okay, this is what should work, this is what not should work. So now in control of that, it's the sprint is being set by the Scrum, usually what we call a Scrum Master. Okay, a Scrum is a type of Agile methodology. I just don't want to go into the details because it's going too deep. But Scrum is just like a method of Agile methodology, a type, such that everyone is working, everybody's reporting and doing feedbacks and all. There are a lot of types of Agile methodologies, but Scrum is the one that is commonly used, and that's why we're working with that. So the person who sets the time, it's the Scrum Master. The Scrum Master determines, okay, how long are we spending here? He also determines what are the resources he's going to be needing. So if the Scrum Master is to create a feature, you create a feature like a product like Piggyverse, or a product like CUDA Bank, or a product like Flutterwave. So he sets it. That's why it creates the time, the plan, and everything. It ensures that, okay, these are the resources I'll need. Okay, I'll need 5 designers. I'll need 10 developers. I'll need this QA. I'll need this quality assurance. These guys to be here. So he sets those things and he does that. So, but for you, as a designer, you're the one in charge of, okay, how long will this thing go? But you also have a deadline to meet. That's why I also stated that as a designer, you need to manage your project very well. Give yourself a timeline. They might give you a deadline of 2 weeks. Try and reason with the person in charge, the Scrum Master or the product owner, and say, okay, no, 2 weeks will not be enough. Okay, give me 3 weeks. And then reason with you and give that 3 weeks. You must also ensure you deliver at that time, because it shows that, yeah, this guy is dutiful to his job. So you are in control in a sense, and you're not in control in a sense because you are being pursued, if I'll use that word, by a timeline. So I hope that answered your question, Esther. So let me move on to the next question. What's the common challenge we could face working with developers based on your own experience? Okay. Yeah, people say developers are harsh. Developers are terrible. Not terrible in that sense, but that they like I said, what I use is that I try as much as possible to be friendly with developers. Like I make sure that I'm my close friends, because so when I make a request, is if they'll react to it, to be a friendly reaction, not just what is wrong with this guy, what is doing this guy. You get, so try as much as possible to be close with them. Yeah, it's very, very important. Now the common challenges you could face is such that the developer can say, this design cannot work. This design is not possible. Okay, I think, sorry, let me show you something. Yeah, I'm coming. I don't know if I'm sharing my screen, but let me show you something. Just give me a minute. Thank you, raise that question. Can you see my screen? Sorry, what can you see? Because I don't even know what I'm saying.
I think that's all. That's all, guys. Any question? That's all I can see on your screen.
Okay. Wow. Let me see, I have to reshare. Let me see. Just give me a minute. Oh, can't see that. Just give me a minute. So I saw this, is it, no, it was not a tweet. I saw this post on LinkedIn. I also saw it on Instagram again. It was very hilarious, but I think it's kind of very important because it really guides your interaction with developers. Okay, it should come up now. I don't know, I'm not getting it. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
So what can you see? I see my background, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's cool. So this is coming. So let's look at this video. Can you see this video?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So look at this. Let's look at this. So I hope you can see this. So it's kind of very funny. So it just shows that we just want to create pretty stuff, but we don't care about the feelings of these guys. I hope you guys saw that video. Okay, that's cool. That's cool. So it's very yeah, yeah, it's very funny, but that's just the truth. Yeah. So the reason why it's that because the designer just wants to do some very interesting thing, something very, very interesting, but he's not interested in the feelings of the developer. And that's not how it should work. We should work hand in hand with each other to ensure that, yeah, we create something very awesome. So let me see. Next question. So I think I've answered your question. Eddie Scholar Day. Yeah, we got that name correctly. So is it possible to involve these people in the first project? I mean, when someone is just designing the first project, or is there any platform to get in touch with these people? I really don't understand that question, Matthew. Who are the people? Are you talking about developers? So, okay. Yeah, it's very possible to involve design and developers in your project. Now, when you're working on personal projects, you might not have developers working on a project, but I think it's very, very important to also make developers your friends because they're like soulmates. I'll use that word. Developers and designers are like soulmates. There's no how you will meet a developer in your life as long as you are always working as a designer. You always miss a developer or an engineer. So you always need to meet them. So that's why it's very important. Even on this bootcamp, you can also collaborate with these developers, those who are doing front-end development, back-end development, be their friends, move close to them, then see how if you guys can work on collaborative project. It may be a landing page. So you may design a landing page and you can say, okay, hi, developer, can you help me develop this thing? That's a plus to your portfolio. That's a plus to your own portfolio as well. So, and there are places you can get them anywhere. You want bootcamp, you can get them anywhere you can get them. LinkedIn, you can get them. There are a lot of times that people want to collaborate with you on the projects, so you can get them there as well. So as a beginner, what's the reasonable time frame to design the UI/UX of your project on a small scale? Okay, as a beginner, I'll say you shouldn't take things to like, how do I put it? So it shouldn't be hard on yourself. So since you are starting out, you need to work on yourself a lot. That you need to like study, you need to grow, you need to learn more. So that, because I don't think you need to look at the time frame. What you should look at is what you're hoping to achieve and learn from that. So I've been on hiring interviews when you're hiring designers, and I found out that some of them, yeah, like some people don't actually like understand what they're working on. They don't know that, okay, I saw this on one portfolio. This guy did user flow. Let me just see how we did it, and let me just do it myself. But you need to understand what that user flow is all about. You need to explain it. So someone talked about telling a story, like using a story format to create. That was called case studies. It may seem too advanced right now, but you guys need to see about that. So you need to work on yourself very well to ensure that you understand what the project is about. I'm not saying you should like take time. You can work very fast, but at the same time, understand the concept of everything you are doing. Understand it very well, so that, yeah, this is what this thing means. I'm not just putting stuff there because people are doing it. I understand what it's all about. So it can take you 2 weeks, can take you 3 weeks, can take you 4 weeks, can even take you 2 months, depending on how big the project is. So I don't think you need to create 100 million screens or some sort. What you just need to do is that, okay, I have this product idea. So for me, when I created my first case study, I think it was December period. I can't remember how long I did, but I'm not sure it's up to a week, because I've been working on that project for a long time, and I just had to like finish it that day. It was even a Christmas, funny enough. So I had to just finish that to ensure that, okay, I did this thing, because I wanted to put out a portfolio out there, because I understood this already. I was already like too long in design, and I didn't know all these things, but I wasn't very intentional in creating a portfolio. So that's just what it's about. So you don't have to rush yourself. Take the learning process, the learning curve slowly, because you may think that all these things are unnecessary, all these stories, all these telling me this thing, telling me that thing, this user flow, this user persona. You may think you don't need it, but when you come to real life application, when you start applying for, when you start working in organizations, you find out that you need these things. And also, even if you want to work as a freelancer, you can't work as a freelancer forever. The freelancer doesn't have any pension, doesn't have anything, doesn't have any attachment to any company. It just works as solo. So you still need to join a company one day. And these are things you still need to know, you still need to understand, because you later need them as you go along. So you can take as long as possible, but you can also fast track it as well. As long as you understand what it's all about. That's why, apart from just, I always encourage designers to, apart from just watching tutorial videos, learning how to use Figma, also read articles. There are a lot of articles out there. There's UX Collective. There are a lot of them out there that tell you, okay, that inform you, okay, this is how these things work. This is how these things work. So not just like, there are also books out there to design books as well. Don't just cloud yourself watching tutorial videos or just doing fancy things. Yeah, they're important, but also know the nitty-gritty of everything. That's where you learn all these things. You learn about all these things. So that. Then I think I answered that question. If I didn't, so you can draw me back. So why is okay? He's not smiling because he's not happy. That's why he's not smiling. He's not smiling because he's not happy. Yeah, because now these things, when I did something one time, my current company, we were working on a project, and we didn't do the interactive prototype because we were doing a lot of stuff at that time. So we just did this thing and just told the developer, I dropped handoff notes. I told the developer, okay, this is how I wanted to be, this is how I wanted to be. I didn't want to do interactive prototype at all. So I think I did one. That was one I did on my own personal project. So I just showed him that, okay, this is how it should work. I did that with Figma. I just showed him, okay, this is how this thing should slide, this is how this should go. He said, oh, more, what is this? So he said, what is this? So we later came to a conclusion, and yeah, got so good he did it, because he started to take time. Yeah. So sometimes it's not as if it will not. And one thing about developers is that many of them have a lot of things going on for them. Some of them are working on like 10 projects, 5 projects at the same time. So let's not go into that. But what is the basic thing is just your communication with them. You have to have a smooth communication with them to ensure that, okay, yeah, they actually implement what you are doing, because they can just turn your designs to Egusi and you will not like it at all. You won't like it. You wonder, I might want to do this. So that's that. So are you saying it's advisable to talk to developers first before reporting to Scrum Master by a wireframe? Like, nope. Like everyone, since it's a sprint, everyone is on board, everyone is there. So you can also see now, developer is one of the first people you should talk to, even before talking to your Scrum Master. Now you can talk to the Scrum Master first. It's not as if it's fit in stone. It's not fit in stone. The Scrum Master may say, okay, yeah, this is nice. But if you go to the developer says, no, this is not possible. You go back to the Scrum Master and say, guy, developer says it's not possible. Let's re-strategize and let's find out how to do all these things again. So it's not compulsory you talk to anyone first. You can talk to any of them at any point in time. The most important thing is just that it works and everyone is happy. Everyone can do their job peacefully and happily. So that's just it. So yeah, I think that's all. If I didn't answer any question, please draw me back. So yeah, I think that's all. So anyone with any more question? Okay, who's a Scrum Master? So a Scrum Master is actually someone who like, okay, we have what we call stand-ups. I'm sure the advanced people here will know what stand-ups is. But stand-ups are just like, and that's a good place for everyone to meet. Like a Scrum Master is someone who coordinates everyone coming together to talk about, okay, what have they been working on and how has the progress been? Like a guy, we have the product owner, the Scrum Master. Now the Scrum Master is like, how do I call it? Like the principal. Is it the principal or the director? The Scrum Master is like a director. The product owner is like a principal. So the product owner reports to the Scrum Master. Okay, this is how this thing is working. This is how. So the Scrum Master is just there to just regulate, not regulation, but it's just like there to like oversee things, just to ensure that okay, everyone is doing their job. So the Scrum Master basically appears in stand-up. You see him in stand-up, you see him in meetings. Yeah, just to check on that everyone is doing a nice job, everyone is doing their job. So what's the difference between project manager and the Scrum Master? So a project manager can be a Scrum Master. Yeah, it can be, but it's just that Scrum Master is much higher. It's overseeing a lot of stuffs. Not just a project manager does work on one thing, works on one thing. A project manager can be someone who is assigned to a particular task, assigned to a particular stuff, assigned to a particular product. But a Scrum Master, like someone who oversees all these things and brings everyone and ensures everyone is doing their task. Just like let's say chief whip, not chief whip, but someone who regulates all these things, who like manages everyone. Yeah, basically. Manages all the tasks, all the projects. So yeah. So I guess that answered that. So any more questions? Oh, you're welcome. Welcome. So I guess that's it. So next class, I think next class will be on Thursday, if I'm correct. Yeah, it should be on Thursday. So we'll be going in depth talking about product briefs and some other interesting stuffs. So
Yeah. Okay. So thank you, Taiwo, for coming on this call. Thank you for a wonderful class. I
yeah.
don't think there are any more questions. So much
Okay, Farouk,
appreciation.
sorry. Farouk is saying, can you please recap everything you taught in the last 5 minutes? Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, sorry, I that's my bad. I was actually rushing the slides. I also have given a recap, like a summary of everything I said in the slides. I also have given a recap. Sorry. Okay. I also have done a recap on the slides anyway, but what I basically I've closed my slides. So what we basically talked about was how to manage your projects. Yeah. So how to manage your project as a designer. So it's not just about I'm not a project manager, I'm not a product manager, I'm a designer. As a designer, you still need to manage people, you still need to manage products, you still need to manage your clients, manage your bosses. Yeah, like you can do something now, go and give it to show the product manager or show the developer. So you need to, and you need to also know those who you are accountable to, those who you are working with. At the beginning of a product, at the beginning of a project, you should know, okay, yeah, I'll need the marketing team, I'll need the media team, I'll need the research team. So know those guys, then they are your go-to people that you just go and meet and, okay, this guy, how far with my delivery, but how far with what I need. So so you need to manage people very well. And also, I think that's basically it. I think if you watch I've said a lot, I can't remember again. So I think if you watch the video, the recording, you get a better understanding. So I won't waste people's time. So yeah. Sorry, can you still?
Oh, okay, I can hear you.
Yeah. So I said that's basically it. It's just that you just need to manage your projects very well and understand those who you need to collaborate with. It's very, very important. That collaboration part is important because it saves a lot of stress. It saves you a whole lot of stress. I can really tell you that because you spend a whole week or a whole week working on something over the weekend, and you get to office and someone is saying this thing will work. Imagine. So it's really terrible because you have to start from scratch and you must be like, what's all this? So the best thing is just to avoid the that pitfall of doing things yourself. Avoid that pitfall of doing things yourself. Ensure you collaborate with people very well and ensure that you manage your projects very well. So from thinking about the project, from ideation to final delivering of the project, you also ensure that, okay, as I've delivered this project, how is the developer have a follow-up session, have a follow-up procedure? How is the developer working on this thing? Because this thing is tied to my image, it's tied to my image as a designer. Will I be proud if I see that it's designed on the space? I see it online and I say that, okay, then I ask who designed this thing. I can't even raise up my hand because the developer spoils the design. So you have to ensure that you take ownership of that product. It's your duty as a designer. I also have to be open to feedbacks. Yeah, there are times when people will say your design is nonsense. Yeah, everyone goes through it. It's a process you can't escape. Everyone, no one gets a perfect design at first. But you trying to improve on yourself and keep iterating on yourself, you make a better designer. And before you know it, you're world class. So that's all from me. Yeah. Okay. What does it take to be a product designer and developer at the same time? Such a wonderful question. Yeah, it takes more work from you. It takes more dedication from you. It takes more of your night's rest. It takes more of your time. So you can be a designer and be a developer at the same time. I think they call them UX unicorns, if I'm correct. Yeah. So those guys that design and develop at the same time. So it's either one has been a developer before and wants to transition into design, or one has been a designer before and wants to transition to development. So, but both of them really they're like two different huge fields that it's not easy for you to manage. You can't completely know one to the you can't completely know one to the fullest because you are doing two sides at the same time. So unlike someone who is focused on one thing and constantly exploring it to ensure that I get better at it. So it's a good thing to understand. Yeah, it's not compulsory for you to know how to code, but it's also, I think it also gives you a leverage of some sort if you are working with these developers. Okay, developers, this thing if you work if I was the one, it won't work. I can't do it myself. So it's really help you. So yeah, I hope I answered your question. So you can be a designer and developer, just like to take your time, and you might not actually be focused on one, except if you want to specialize in one. So yeah, but it's possible. It's possible. Yeah.
So, all right, I think that's all the question we have
Oh,
from
wow.
tonight. All right, guys, I think we'll take one more question and we're done for the night.
Okay. Okay. So as a developer who doesn't really have any work experience, how do I work towards getting a job, and what are the kind of things I can design? Okay, as a developer, you don't have work experience, but you work on a couple of projects. And so as long as you are like, yeah, work experience for me, what is okay. As a designer who doesn't really have work experience, how how do I work towards getting a job, and what are the kind of things I can design? So basically it's a one-way, it's not a one-way thing. So as a designer, we usually call them entry level. Yeah, those who are between, I think, 6 months, it's 6 months, or those who are just starting though. So call them entry level designer. So basically what you can do is to acquire more knowledge. That's what I would say. So you want to get a job. Yeah, jobs are, now one thing is that jobs are, right now, jobs are for those who like have work experience. And it's not compulsory you have that work experience. Like now, what you are doing here on Top Universe can be added to your resume. That also work, that also counts, or can count as a work experience. So you basically iterate that, okay, when I was in work, when I was on Top when I was Top Universe, I learned about this, I did this, I work with a team to do this, to do this. Those things count towards you getting a job. Even not even a job, at least it counts towards getting you an internship position. So it counts towards getting an internship position. So now it's not a fast lane. Like there are processes to these things, there are steps to these things. So you have been designing for, I usually say something, I usually say the number of years you design doesn't matter, but the effort and time you put into what you are learning is what matters. The quality of work you have put in. Someone can be a designer for can be doing design for 2 hours for 5 years, and someone can do design for 10 hours for 3 years. I'm not saying you should do that anyway. I'm just saying that those level of experiences are different. So I don't normally rate someone who has, I don't normally rate people by their years of experience. I rate people by, okay, their quality of work and what they've produced, what they can do. So basically, towards getting a job or internship position, you need to work more your design, work more your portfolio. So their portfolio is one very important thing. Even forget resume. If you have a very good portfolio, you can at least get a very good internship position somewhere in a very good place. So all you just need to do is to brush up your skills, keep on learning. That learning, it's very, very important. You need to be after that learning, that knowledge, to ensure that, okay, I impact myself, I understand what I'm doing. So if I answered that correctly, let me know. I think you said that was the last question, but let me just try and see if I can take this one. Oh, okay. Okay, yeah, I get, you may be losing interest because you see that, okay, it's not forthcoming, but I can tell you that it's a process. Like, it's a process. You can receive a lot of no's, and one day you just get a yes, but you have to be consistent. Consistency is the key. And also, putting your work out there is also very important. Put your work out there on Twitter, put your work out there on LinkedIn, let people know what you are doing. And that I've gotten 2 jobs like on WhatsApp, just WhatsApp alone, like WhatsApp, because I posted on my status and people saw, yeah, this guy, and I got those things. Not because I was that good then, but because I was putting myself out there and I got those things. So you need to start, like, you need to redefine the purpose of why you are doing this thing. For me, it's because I get to build stuff that millions of people will use, and it makes their life better. That's what keeps me designing, not even because of the money. Money can make you tired. Like, you can, right now, I can say, okay, I'm already working. Let me just relax. Let me not even work. Let me just be doing things slowly. But I guess that if I don't do my job, many people will, it will either affect many people's work. Like, what I do affects a lot of people's, like, their work, their daily lives. So if I stop, then it affects them. So I won't want to be seen as someone who's like that. So okay, yeah, you can, sure, you can. So is product design the same as UI UX design? No, they're different. I won't want to talk more on this. Like, this product design, there is a LinkedIn there's a LinkedIn post on this. If I can just refer you to that so that I won't waste much time. So product design is not the same as UI design. Product design entails more of business direction, of business strategy, of being involved in the process, being involved in business decision. So as a product designer, I don't just design. I do a lot of meetings upon meetings upon meetings. So I have a lot of meetings because we have to understand, okay, this is what we should do, this is what we should do. You have strategy meetings, you have business meetings, you have to be on everything. You have to be on business meeting, be on the strategy meeting. When people are saying something, you have to be there to ensure that, okay, yeah, I understand what this thing is all about. So you take part in the decision-making process, you give feedback, you participate in those sessions. So those are things that really help you. And that's why I usually say you have to understand what the products are about. Once you understand what the business is doing, for you as a product designer, your main purpose working in that company is to fetch them more money. Putting the users also in regard into consideration, but also your main purpose is to fetch them money. So what are you doing there if you're not giving them money? But you, a designer, may not necessarily be a product designer. You may just be a designer that, okay, you just design stuffs. It doesn't take active part in the business decisions. It doesn't take active. It's not a stakeholder. It's just a designer. That's where I see it. So there's a LinkedIn post for that. Probably I'll drop it or I'll send it to the admin. So for you to see that. So that's basically it. So yeah, I think that's all for tonight.
Thank you so much, Taiwo. I think before we go, there's just one more thing I want to address. You said this from Joshua. You said, all right, thank you. I'm not really part of this. I saw this on a friend's status and joined. I've been designing for a while and I think I'm beginning to lose interest. Now, Joshua, you don't have to lose interest. You can join our Discord community. We have a community of designers where everyone gets to encourage themselves and push themselves. I think you can do that by visiting our website. So I'll drop the link here. You can click on it and go there and join the community. So thank you so much, Taiwo, for being on this call. Thank you for your teaching. So we'll see you on Thursday. Good night, everyone.
Thank you very much. Good night, everyone. Bye.
Okay.
Yeah.